I got a feeling that this day may not be for some of you. It may not be for some of you. By the way, next 4 hours, we are powered not only by Big Sills and Jacob, but our partners over at BetUS. Make sure you check out the website. Throughout this football season, you better buckle up. Some of you might need goggles on tonight. You might need goggles today on where we're going to go. Hey, by the way, 16 days out to Christmas, something like that, right? What a great time of the year. I mean, football, holidays, the winter months. This is what it's about now, man. College football was a train wreck on Saturday with those ridiculous notions. How in the world does Notre Dame get into the college football playoff and they didn't play one team that was ranked nationally all year long? And they get beat by a Northern Illinois team. We'll talk more about that later, obviously. I see all the supers. Dude, we had super chats today before we even went on the air, and we're going to get to those, I promise you. Obviously, the NFL, and most notably yesterday, that fucking train wreck that the Eagles were involved in. That thank God there were survivors. I think that came out of that football game. As we always tell you, first 15 is the most important to the program on spreading the love. Please hit that like button. I think we got a new record of 170 or 180 in the first 15, 16 minutes of the program. Please hit that like button. And all supers will go to the top, and we will read them right out of the gate. We'll deviate off our open. All super chats. You guys end up going right to the front of the line. Zander, let's get to those now because there were some of them before we even went on the air. Truth, justice, and the Big Sills way is restored. Thank you. Been saying this shit that we're going to say for 3 years about your incompetent quarterback who can't read a fucking defense to save his life. I posted numerous examples of that. I posted numerous examples of that guy being one of the worst quarterbacks in the league on a contending football team. He is unworthy to be the starting quarterback in Philly. He is. Hey, Bryson Daly and him have a lot in common. They're wishbone quarterbacks that win a ton. They're wishbone quarterbacks. They're both 11-2. Bryson hurts. I'll tell you what, nobody would ever come on this program and try to tell me that Jalen Hurts is an elite quarterback ever again. Dude, that guy is awful. And now you have hey, by the way, I'm not pissed off at A.J. Brown. I'm not pissed off at A.J. Brown in some of the comments that he made after the game. He's right. He was wide open 7 times. You know what Hurts did? He did a Tim Tebow jump pass out of bounds. He took off running. AJ was wide open running down the seam. He missed them. AJ Brown is right here. He's not being a diva. He's right. Okay? He's right. Look at some of these fucking idiots in here trying to deviate off the point when it comes to Josh Allen had 6 touchdowns. He doesn't play defense. No turnovers. 425 yards in total offense. Can't do it all himself. Jalen Hurts should be very thankful he's got a bunch of great players on his team. Allen doesn't. He's got to carry his team, and if his defense doesn't play well, he's got to be Superman. You're fucking idiots. Look at Twiz. Mahomes. What? This is the dumbest stuff you can do. Jalen Hurts is awful as a passer. He is awful. Mahomes, 68-1, 31-89, 20-11, 92. Chiefs rushing, 14-38 combined. Hurt. What combined? What the fuck does that mean? Twiz, your quarterback sucks. He sucks. You know that notion here that, get this, that because his numbers are down, is because they're running the ball more. That's not true. That's a lie. They run the ball in Baltimore 30 times. They throw the ball 30 times. They're the second most successful running attack. How come they get 30 attempts off and you guys get 20 attempts off? Shit, since the bye, it's only 16. Dude, your quarterback stinks. He stinks as a passer. Hey, by the way, two things can be true. He's a winner. He's been around great programs his entire life. Let me just put it to you this way. If he was in Pittsburgh, Mike Tomlin would bench him. I think Justin Fields could run that offense. What they're doing right now, 83 yards passing, I think Justin Fields could run that. Why? 108. And remember, Justin Fields was benched when he was 4-1. And you know what Mike said? We need a passing game if we're going to win a Super Bowl. And he benched a quarterback that was 4-1. Hurts gets a W, your boy Allen gets the L. Okay, Nick, fuck. You take your loser quarterback, and I'll take the best quarterback next to Allen or next to Mahomes in the league. Have at it. You take your shit-reading quarterback. Nobody thinks he's good. Hurts needs to play better, but 3 touchdowns, no pick. My God almighty. If you watch that football game and you thought he played, nobody, not even Hurts thought he played well. Not even Jalen Hurts said it. Give me another super here, Zander. They're coming in here as quick as ever. Okay? Hurts has not been right since he went woke. I don't know anything. Sills, in your opinion, why can't he read defenses? Is it a lack of film study, lack of reps? Can he not see it in real time? Looking forward to the show. Thank you. Josh, I go to my X account and just watch how he plays. Case Daniel on the facility, Emmanuel Acho pointed it out. Orlovsky up in ESPN showed you wide open guys that he completely can't see, and he misses. Dude, you know what's even more obnoxious? Is that you're 11-2 with a quarterback who's the worst player in your huddle. By the way, you don't have to be a rocket scientist or Tom Brady to point it out. You're missing players. You're not seeing them. Jalen Hurts is not a very good passer, and I've been saying it for 3 years. 3 years. He's just not very good. And that guy, in my opinion, will hold you back from winning a Super Bowl. He's not good enough. If he was in Pittsburgh, he would get Tomlin a playoff win, not just one game over 500. Hey, Twiz, if he was in Pittsburgh, a performance like that on Sunday, he would have been benched after the third quarter. Mike Tomlin would have benched him. By the way, if there was a competent backup in Philadelphia, I'd be screaming for him to be benched. He's terrible. You're not going anywhere with that passing game like that. You're now 29th. Let me give you some of the numbers here and where he is. And then I'm going to ask the question one more time to you guys about Jalen Hurts and the ability to have him and where he is. Do you know you're 23rd now in attempts? You're 24th in completions. You're 21st in yards. He's been sacked 35 times. Last year, he was sacked. He's been sacked 71 times. From a year ago to today, 71 times he's been sacked. Holding on to the ball too long. AJ is right. We have a problem. Jalen has shown no progress in 2 years. He's shown no progress in 2 years. It's getting worse. It is getting worse. Your football team is too good to have an incompetent quarterback. And now you have a problem in Elliott, too. Okay? Hey, get this. Jalen Hurts, Justin Fields. Justin Fields could do exactly what Jalen Hurts is doing. There's nothing special. He's got single coverage, and he misses them most of the time. Justin Fields would do just as much winning in Philly. By the way, he's on track to get 3,200 passing yards this year. Sills, you're out of your mind. When they make Lamar throw in the playoffs, they lose. I'm telling you that they have a balance in Baltimore. And all of you are saying the reason why Jalen's numbers are down is because, well, we're running it more. They run the same. They run the ball exactly the same as you do in Philadelphia. That guy's right now over 3,000 yards. Will have 4,500 passing yards, almost 40 touchdowns. He's getting his numbers. What's wrong with the passing game in Philly? Jalen Hurts. Still speaking of Pittsburgh, Jalen Hurts or Justin Fields. In this offense, I don't know. It's coin toss. I'd probably take Hurts because he's done it more. And I think he's a better passer than Justin. But that's closer than you think. Jalen Hurts is not a good quarterback. He's a good football player. Two things can be true. Nick is a better coach than Tom. Look at this guy. Nick is a better coach than Tomlin. He's winning at RB2 at quarterback. I'm not sure what that means. I hope you're joking. Nick's a better coach than Mike Tomlin. I think that just shows you all you need to know about Twist, because I'm hoping he's kidding. Brian Pumper. Good afternoon, everyone, except Jalen Alexander Hurst and his various psychopaths. Hope all of you have a horrific day for all you nefarious actions. Hey, Brian, some of these fuckers in here actually think this guy's good. Why are you defending that? I thought you would expect more. You're wasting $200 million worth of great players. You're wasting a great offense. You know what? Hey, Brian, I have no idea how Carson Wentz threw for 4,039 yards and 27 touchdowns with not one wide receiver that caught more than 500 yards receiving. I have no idea how he did that. I have absolutely no idea. Please hit the like button. Give me a running total on the likes. Nothing we can do. Hurts is under contract. Absolutely. No question about it. A month from now, slow first quarter, loading the box on Saquon and Hurts, throwing to stay in the game. Wild card exit. Hello, Darnold. We get you there. Absolutely. Hey, Anthony, can I tell you what happened? By the way, my takeaways, we're going to do that here in a second about the game itself. But do you know what's happened now? You had 200 yards plus rushing on Sunday, and it still wasn't almost enough. They're catching up to you. They're catching up to you. You had 200 yards in offense on the ground, and you almost lost the ball game against a team that's going to have the 4th pick in April in the NFL draft. Okay? The 4th pick. There's nobody on that team. Serious question. If the Eagles don't make the Super Bowl this season, will this be Jalen's last season in an Eagle uniform? I don't know. I don't know. I wouldn't want that guy as my quarterback. He's not good enough for the huddle. Look at this. Let me ask you guys something here. Do you agree that Miles Sanders and DeAndre Swift were not good enough for the Eagle O-line? Do you agree with that? That those guys weren't good enough? That they went out in the offseason and got a superstar running back in Saquon Barkley, right? Look at what you did when you matched the talent up. You got a superstar back and a superstar O-line. Look at what it produced. It's making it exposed your passing game. Okay? It's exposed your passing game. Why wouldn't you do that at the quarterback position? Now, either this, like Chase Daniel says, it's either play calling, pass protection, or the quarterback. What is it? I told you from day one, you hired the wrong coordinator. But that Hurts is only a $97 million cap hit in 2029. Wow. Dude, you're married to this hag for the next 3.5 years. This is a marriage you can't get a divorce from. And he's got no trade. You're stuck with this turkey. Hurts leads the league in rushing touchdowns. Congratulations. I said he'd have more rushing touchdowns than passing touchdowns. You know what, Zander? And I don't fault him for this. He was under the assumption, just like many of you were throwing. Remember, you guys were throwing 4,700 yards passing and 35 touchdowns at you? I said, never happen. I said, never in a million years will that guy ever get close to 4,035 passing. Never. He's not that guy. All of you killed me. And remember when I also told you that guy would never throw for 4K in his life? He never will. He's not good enough. You got a subpar quarterback on a great team. Two things can be true. This is what you have. You're under the impression. Are you under the impression that a better quarterback wouldn't win the same, but you'd be more dual threat, being able to win in the air and in the run game? You're one-dimensional right now. Your passing game is, get this, you're now 29 out of 32 teams. Do you understand you're not flipping a switch and all of a sudden some guy's going to throw for 350 yards? He's not good enough. I've been telling you from day one, really 3 years ago, he's not good enough. The Panthers exposed him. Mahomes with 182 yards versus Hurts' 304. Mahomes won the Super Bowl with those stats. Explain that. He makes plays when it matters. And he's got he beat you with Juju Smith-Schuster. You had A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith. And the best O-line in football. Explain that. Don't you agree that your quarterback underperforms with the amount of talent that's in that huddle? If you don't agree with that, there's no conversation between you and me. He's not good enough. Nobody in the league has been afforded the riches that Jalen Hurts has had in both college and in the pros. And get this, and where you could replace him, they did at Alabama. And they won more. They were not going to win a national title that year with him. They were not going to win a national title. Zander was there. So you know what Saban did? He put the guy in the game that would win the national title. And they won it. And they got better. You can't do that in the pros. You don't have 2 first-round picks sitting on your roster. You can't pay both guys that. The one place you can replace him is college. And he was replaced because of exactly the same stuff. He hasn't gotten better since Alabama. He's the same guy. Can't read defenses. He hasn't gotten better since Tuscaloosa. Facts. I think the only saving grace for Hurts is his ability to find rhythm with the RPO. Yes? And the quality of his deep ball throws. I have not seen quality of deep throws this year whatsoever. I saw a jump pass like he was Tim Tebow throwing it out of bounds. This guy stinks. Face it. You got a quarterback in your offense that will stop you from winning. You know who's going to stop you from winning a Super Bowl? I used to think it was Nick Sirianni. I'm convinced it's Hurts. He's not good enough. Dude, Sam Darnold can beat that team. If you're not playing lights out, and they didn't really play. I went back and watched it this morning. They weren't really all that great on defense. I'll explain here in a minute. My guy got to be better for us to get to New Orleans. Trey, what I would do is I would just absolutely run those RPOs to death. I would absolutely run those RPOs. You said yesterday that we're trading sacks for turnovers. Why aren't the coaches telling him to throw it away? Not every play needs to be extended. Josh, I don't know. Okay, to me, he's afraid of the turnover. But those sacks are, I disagree. Hey, let me ask you this. Zander, right, everybody? Do you now agree with me on these sacks that he takes? They're like turnovers. Most of these sacks that he takes you out of field position. Dude, that explanation why he took that. Did you hear what he said? Jalen said that why he took that sack. He'd rather take the sack that took him out of field position for a field goal was because he was setting the protections. This guy doesn't even, he goes, and I set the protection wrong. So I decided to take the sack. Why didn't you fucking throw it away? Why didn't you throw it out of bounds? That's a dumb answer. Now he's coming up with excuses. Dude, I haven't even gotten to the game yet. But by the way, all supers go to the top. I haven't even got to my takeaways yet. That's the worst game he's played. 83 yards with the sacks passing. No, missing wide receivers left and right. Dude, do you know how many touchdown passes he missed in that game yesterday against the 28th ranked pass defense? At least 3. That's Carolina. Dude, do you really want to take a victory lap beating the shittiest team in the league? Wow. You played a 60-minute football game versus a horrible team. Hey, by the way, Bryce Young was the best quarterback on the field. By far. We're a running team. It limits TOs and we win. Look at Nick. That's not true, folks. The top 3 rushing attacks in pro football are the Lions, the Eagles, and the Ravens. They throw the ball just as much as they run it. The Eagles are right now averaging 16 attempts. Jalen definitely has been disappointing in the passing game. But don't forget, they benched Tua for Jalen the following season during the SEC championship game. And he beat us again. Dirty D, I thought it was that Tua got banged up in that game. By the way, I think I missed the super chat. I thought it was Tua got banged up in that game. That's right. Zander just said that's not true. They didn't bench Tua. Tua got hurt. And then Jalen came in and rescued the SEC title game. But what happened? They went right back to the better quarterback. They went back to Tua to win the national title. That's not true. Howie's fault for paying a one-year wonder. I called him that. I called Jalen Hurts. How do you know he's not a one-year wonder? You know what you all kept telling me? Not true. Can we admit Kellen Moore keeps getting jobs because of Dak? Kellen Moore, yes, he couldn't do shit with Herbert, and now we can't do shit with Hurts. Kellen Moore's not done a very good job. Okay? Yeah, please keep putting the supers up there for me. Yes, Zander. These guys are paying? Absolutely. Supers all go to the top. We so appreciate that. Absolutely. We're going to get to my takeaways here from the game itself. Let me read here what Bob has to say. Sills, honest question. Jalen Hurts has clear deficiencies and has not improved since the beginning of the season. I would say since the 2023 season. Is that solely on Jalen Hurts, or is it more of an indictment on the staff for not making him better? It's a good question, Bob. I don't think you can make him better. There's the reason he wasn't drafted in the first round. Okay? Now, listen, there's guys that go in 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. The two greatest winners in Super Bowl history are Joe Montana and Tom Brady. And Montana was taken in the third, and Brady was taken in the sixth. So they do miss. But Jalen has never gotten better reading defenses. Okay? I don't know why anybody in Philadelphia would be defending this. Why are you defending this? Don't you want a better quarterback? Don't you want a better quarterback? Yeah, Zander, just keep putting the supers up until we can move on to getting our takes here. We'll get that going here. Okay? Pickens grade 2 hammy injury, likely to miss the Eagle game. Okay? Well, guess what? Here's the deal here with Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh is a really well-coached football team. You're a better football team as a roster than them. You should win that game. But you're going against a pretty good coaching staff and a really good defense. And if you don't think Mike Tomlin is in the same room with Todd Bowles, you're out of your tree. Mike Tomlin is as good a defensive coach as there is. You better be ready. I'm talking Hurts. Okay? Mike Tomlin is just as good as Todd Bowles. Okay? Yeah, that's right. Just keep putting them up there. All supers go to the top. Guys, please hit the like button. Your quarterback is completely incompetent as a starting quarterback, as a passer in the National Football League. He's a good football player. Yes, two things can be true. He's a good player, but he misses too many throws. He doesn't see the open wide receivers. All the complaining that AJ did, usually I kill AJ. He's right. Dude, why is it when I say it, you get mad at me? But when AJ says it, you don't say anything about him saying it. Or even Hurts. Or even, how about Sirianni? Sirianni's the worst liar going. They deflected it. They know they have a problem. Sills, what quarterback in the league would you take over Hurts that the Eagles would actually get? Or do they start over? I don't like any of the college kids. And that football team is not set up for a college kid. I want an experienced quarterback to handle those guys. You got an experienced O-line. You got an experienced wide receiving group. You got a great tight end when healthy. I want somebody that's competent, that knows what he's doing back there. Hurts is still figuring out pass protections. He said it at his presser yesterday after the game. Yeah, I set the wrong protection. What the fuck is he doing? Dude, he's killing your team. And you don't want to admit it. And they go like this, we're 11-2. That's the criminal part of it. You're 11-2. Every time you guys post 11-2, that's an indictment on him. No shit. That's the criminal part of this. Can Hurts turn it around? And if so, how? Run those RPOs, JB. That's what I would do. I'd run a ton of those. But here's the problem when you run those RPOs. There's going to be wide open wide receivers all over the field. And you're going to get more frustration at it. Dude, how do you only have 4 targets to A.J. Brown versus the 29th worst defense in pro football? How do you have 4 targets? And you didn't target him until when? The second quarter? I mean, how does that work? Why are you paying him $35 million? The other guy seemingly is lost in the game. Hit the like button. All supers go to the top. I mean, I don't get it. How are you defending this? How in the world are you defending that performance yesterday? By the way, this has been a year-long thing. Saquon Barkley has hidden it. Hey, and you know what you're going to get? I told Zander this. You know the problem that you get here sometimes with people? Everyone starts to pick their favorite guys for whatever reasons they want to pick. Just to make it very clear here, I'm looking for the best football player in the huddle for your team, no matter what that is or looks like. And some of you like to turn things upside down and have no conversation on what we're even talking about. You should be worried about your football team having a guy who's not good enough to play in your huddle. Plain and simple. No matter what that is. This is about winning a Super Bowl. And when you say 11-2 and you have an incompetent passer, you're not going to win. That's been my contention all year. By the way, you're slowly coming back. You're slowly coming back. And you're seeing it. By the way, don't let your eyes fool you. Comment on what you're watching. Comment on what you're watching. Zander, let's roll some of them supers out here. If anyone can watch that game yesterday and not be totally deflated about our long-term prospects, I don't know what you're watching. Never improves. Relative is exactly my position. This isn't about Carolina. This is about moving forward in trying to win multiple Super Bowls with a great roster. You don't have the guy to do it. He is not the future of your team. Jalen Hurts is not the future of your Philadelphia Eagles football team. He's not, but he has to be. You know why? You gave him the money, and you gave him a no trade. Why? Off of 1 year. This guy will never be better than anything he's ever done in 22. By the way, let me ask you this. He's completely had a disappointing season. For the expectations that were set at the beginning of the year. Dude, the only thing different from a year ago, he's taking more sacks and not turning the ball over. And they continue to win because of Saquon Barkley. You had 200 yards of rushing and still almost lost. Lions rushing 1964. Eagles rushing 2476. How you doing? I'm talking about attempts, dickhead. Hey, Big Sills, you're absolutely correct on Hurts. Boy, I wonder what Howie and Lori doing, probably banging their heads for letting Steichen walk out of the building. I think it's got more so to do with the fact that that quarterback had 1 year, he was good. The league has caught him up. And by the way, hey, how about this, Ace? Ace, would you agree that Jalen Hurts has gotten worse since Super Bowl when he played against the Kansas City Chiefs? Do you think he's gotten worse? Yes or no? Okay. Has he gotten worse as a pocket passer? And as an NFL quarterback? Has he gotten worse? Is it safe to say that Jalen Hurts looks like Carson Wentz, a.k.a. Jalen Wentz? Emmett, Carson Wentz was a better passer. B. Costello, yes. Okay, get this. So Peter says that he's gotten better as a passer. Peter, where has Jalen Hurts gotten better as a passer? Where's he gotten better? You don't think he's regressed? He threw for 3,900 yards. and 15 picks. Dickhead. Where's he gotten better? If Philly plays Minnesota, Minnesota has the quarterback advantage. Yeah. Darnold is a better pocket passer. Correct. Sam Darnold. I can't believe I'm even saying that name. Sam Darnold is a better pocket passer and a better runner of the offense than Jalen Hurts. Absolutely true. Jalen Hurts is terrible at running an offense. He's just terrible. He could throw the ball away and take the sack because it was RPO. Linemen were downfield. My God. You will say anything to protect your boy Wonder. Hey, Sills, I just left Miami heading back home to Georgia. Man, it's awesome there. Was at South Beach. Dirty D, awesome. Thank you, my friend. Appreciate it. Here's the deal. Hurts didn't play well yesterday. Yes, here's my problem. Why not start running, then throwing? Stop starting the game throwing a 40-yard. Q, okay. That's a play calling philosophical thing they could do a little bit. Hey, by the way, Q, the first 15 to 25 plays, what's the coaching staff thinking? What's the coaching staff thinking? Okay, whether it's the Ravens or the Panthers or the Bengals or the Giants, what's the first? You spend a whole week putting that play sheet together. That's what you come up with? It's the quarterback. He can't execute it. Jalen Hurts cannot execute scripted plays. Hasn't that become evident? The first quarter is an indictment on Hurts. Sirianni, Steichen, Johnson, Moore. All looks the same. What's the constant? The quarterback. Eagles got themselves an expensive problem. Correct. Sills, has Jalen and Kellen Moore made this offense worse than even funny rip them anymore? Look at this footwork. I think the defense depends on Reed to be the leader there. Samuel's footwork is terrible. I'd argue slow starts is the biggest issue for now. No, really. Not wide open wide receivers running down the seam and putting teams away. You're right. That's why I'm saying change the script. Okay? It's hard when the locker room has to admit the quarterback is the problem. Suggestion, under center, stretch the run game, bootleg at least, Smitty's in the slot or motion. Where's the creativity? Feels like 23. Yep. It looks like 23. Dude, he's got 35 sacks. Last year he had 36. The sacks, he's taking minus plays. Okay? Minus plays so that you don't scream at him because he turned the ball over. You know what? Again, I disagree with Marcus Hayes. I disagree with him. When he takes those sacks like that, and you take yourself out of field position, it's like a sack. I mean, it's like a turnover. You turn the ball over on possession. The only thing you're not losing is field position. You're losing that too when it comes to scoring opportunities if you're going for a field goal. Hey, and by the way, now that you've got a field goal kicker problem, that's going to be enlightened even more in the postseason. Jake Elliott's a problem. Holy cow. We're already 40-some-odd minutes into the game. I haven't even, into the show, I haven't even gotten to the game yet. The guy's not good enough. He's not. Face it. We've been telling you for 3 years. The guy's not elite. He's a good football player. He's a good football player. Okay, he is. And now with your place kicker having issues, Elliott, you got a massive problem there. You know, the Eagles lose aggressiveness in how they go about their situational play calling when your place and field goal kicker is struggling mightily. Can't do anything about it now. You're past the due date now, man. You can't do anything about Elliott. Thank you, Flexen. Hey, by the way, folks, this is not a conversation that we want to start out. You should be celebrating the fact that you made the playoffs, 4th year in a row. Hey, by the way, all the city indecisions that Nick has made, I don't know. Nick is having a better season right now than Jalen Hurts is, I'll tell you that. Nick Sirianni is having a better year than the quarterback is. He's winning more people over. Hurts is losing people. You don't think you're going to lose A.J. Brown? You keep messing around like that and missing wide open throws like that to him? You're going to. 10 of 13, 71 yards, 2 TDs, 58 rushing, 1 TD. When trailing, that's why he's sticking around. He's solid, doesn't make mistakes, and makes plays when he has to. Okay? When you want to upgrade that, to actually have somebody who's more competent, that just sticks around and gives you an opportunity to win in the passing game. Hey, how much better would Barkley be if he had a passing game? That might be even scarier. How much better would Barkley be? Sills Hurts excels at the RPO. He does. He makes quick decisions. He does. That should lead to 2-3 step drops. Correct. RPO, 25-yard passing, do not mesh. Slants and second-level crossing patterns will work. Horizontal, not vertical. That's right. When somebody says that he throws a deep pass, I don't want him back in the pocket. He's going to take a sack. He's the 6th most sacked player in the league. And he's got to – get this. Tell me if you think this is a good number. Jalen Hurts is the 6th most sacked quarterback in pro football. And his offense in the passing game is ranked 29th. You tell me if that's really good. You tell me how that's improved under Kellen Moore, and this year they've done the right thing. Tell me how that's good. Give me anything on how that's good. How's that? How in the world does that even sound remotely good? On an 11-2 team, get this, on an 11, here's what makes it sound even more fucked up. On an 11-2 team, you got a quarterback that's the 6th most sacked guy and the 29th ranked passing attack. How's that possible? How is that possible? You got a great O-line, and you got a great running back right now. Seals Barkley would even be better with a passing game. This offense should be much more complete with what they have. I love Hurts, but he's the weakest link on the offense, and real fans knew this all along. Here's something else, Jason, to think about here, too. I told you, Jason, at the beginning of this season, there's no excuses for this guy not to get better as a player, that I would go fucking knee deep on him if we started seeing that this guy was not getting better, and he has not gotten better. This offense, he's a liability. He is an offensive liability right now on December 9th. He is an offensive liability. He was an offensive liability in that game yesterday. My God almighty, if that guy got 3 touchdowns with that shitty performance, can you imagine a more competent guy? He put up 10. Dude, even look what Sam Darnold's doing with Justin Jefferson. He had 5 touchdown passes yesterday. And you struggle with the Panthers. The Panthers. Jesus criminy. The Panthers have nothing to offer. And there they were at the end of the game, a missed touchdown catch to beat you. With Bryce Young outplaying your guy. Really? I would never have thought that. Hey, James, it doesn't make sense. Jalen needs to go watch some Drew Brees tape. Here, give me the takeaways here from the game. So it's just not all the quarterback comes out of that game absolutely the worst player on that field yesterday in the most critical positions. And by the way, why this is the worst performance of the year for the Eagles, it's the opponent. Some would go, Sills, they only had 220 some odd yards against the Bucs. Well, the Bucs are a playoff contender. Okay? The Carolina Panthers are a draft contender for the overall number 1 spot. Hey, here's the good thing. You won and you're 11-2. No doubt. Okay? No doubt. Get this. Here's Forrest here. Ignores Jalen's rushing. Nobody's ignoring that. We know you can run the ball. We know you can't throw it. So great. You got a great running quarterback. But you don't have a great passing quarterback. You're one-dimensional. No shit. 35-yard run. Great. No one's ever complained about Jalen Hurts' running. Nobody ever. Great, he can run the ball. Who's ever debated that? Way to go, M. Reyes. Way to point out the obvious, Mr. Captain Obvious. Okay? Captain Obvious. Here. Outside of that, this is what we saw here. It was the worst performance. It was the worst performance of the year by the Eagles. Bucs are a playoff contender. The quarterback was horrendous, as we've been pointing out. Pass protection was good. I don't know what you can do in the play calling. Quarterback can't execute. His inabilities, as Bob said, were on display the entire football game. I think in history, these are the best record-wise Philly against Pittsburgh this year. Both contenders since 2008. Maybe we host the Penn Bowl. Like, I think this is going to be a good football game this weekend versus the Steelers. I like it. Okay? Get this here. Look at William posting that record again. 11-2. This guy's a fucking idiot. So he thinks I'm an idiot for saying that Jalen Hurts sucks as a passer. When you're 29th rated and the quarterback can't hit the broadside of a barn. We posted numerous misses all year long. It's been this way. This guy's calling me an idiot because the quarterback, they're winning in spite of the quarterback. Okay, you're right. Your quarterback's great. Okay, William, you stick with that guy. You're fucking going nowhere. You're going nowhere. The Eagles are a one-and-done team. With that quarterback, they're one and done. After watching the defense, I had a little bit more issues with them getting off blocks. Nolan Smith got terrorized by the Panthers. He was terrorized. They constantly broke him down. He did not play very well. He's got to play better. Okay? Cooper DeJean, that was a learning experience. Adam Thielen schooled his ass. By the way, to Barkley on passing Shady. It's a great number to be the all-time single-season rushing champion in Eagle history. That's a great thing. Since the team's been around for over 90 years, to have that number is really remarkable. By the way, silver lining here, Micaiah Becton is just playing insane football. I would make this comment to you. Becton is playing better than Dickerson right now. That's how good he's playing. That's a man amongst boys. He is playing. You know what? I don't know. Give it to Jeff Stoutland. Putting him over, okay? Putting him over at right guard and putting him there. He was sensational. Sensational in blocking. Dude, they were pulling. As big as he is, too, the way he was pulling, okay? Pulling, I'll tell you what, look at this guy. I ain't wrong on Hurts. Big Ticket can play. Big Ticket can play. One of the absolutely best things that they have done is bring in Micaiah Becton. Okay? Right? Okay? That guy can ball. Okay? The missed targets to AJ were a problem. Elliott is also an issue. As we said, Cooper DeJean was absolutely schooled by Adam Thielen. They didn't really get off blocks well. Zach Bond, I thought, and I go back and I watched, I don't know. I would make this comment to you about the linebacking play. It was good. It wasn't great. That was probably one of their worst performances in the last month. Wasn't exceptional. Shit, Carolina moved the ball up and down the field on them. Carolina had the 28th or 32nd ranked offense, and they moved the ball up and down the field on you. Up and down the field. That's not a good offense. Up and down the field. I thought there were a lot of missed tackles out there. I mean, again, here's what grade would I give that effort? That was a D+. Players decided to get off the bus in pretty much the second half of the game. They didn't want to play that game. It just looked like they were kind of going through the motions. Okay? I mean, that was an absolutely playing down to your opponent performance that you had versus the Carolina Panthers. Let's go by the numbers now. This is even better. By the numbers. This right here is an indictment. By the way, all supers go to the top. Give me a number, please, if you can, on the likes where we are. Please hit the like button. We appreciate everybody coming aboard here. Here are the numbers here. Carolina, 20 first downs. They held the Eagles to 18. They held the Eagles to 56 plays. Carolina ran 70. That's how you keep them off the field. Sustained drives. I told you there'd be 14-play drives. If they had them, Carolina would be in the game and make it a fourth quarter, and they did. Total plays or total yards. Carolina out-yardaged the Philadelphia Eagles. 302 to 92. Carolina's defense actually did a great job against a football team that was averaging 470 yards in total offense. They held you to 290 and 9 drives total. You had 9 drives. Passing, 83 yards with the sacks for the Eagles. Carolina, 184 yards. Rushing, 209 on 31 attempts. Get this. How are you not running the ball more when you're averaging 6.7 yards a carry and you're blowing fucking people off the ball? Why are you even attempting a pass? You're smashing them. Why are you throwing it when you know that guy's incompetent? Why are you throwing it? That quarterback keeps you close in every game because he's not good enough. It's not the fact that Barkley can't close you out. The quarterback can't. The quarterback can't close games. He's taking sacks, setting protections. Isn't it odd to you that a guy in his fifth year is just learning how to set pass protections? And then he tells you at a presser, yeah, I set the wrong protection. Okay. Well, yeah, I guess. Sure. Jesus, criminy. He took 4 sacks in the game. They had the ball longer than you. These aren't exceptional numbers. Okay, I mean, these aren't exceptional numbers by Carolina. They're not exceptional. Please hit the like button here. Here we go. Bryce Young, 19 of 34, 191, a touchdown, and a crippling interception that stopped momentum in the first half. He took 1 sack in the game. I thought he did a very nice job at getting out of issues and splitting some of the issues that were in the pass game. By the way, the Eagles had very little pass rush in this game against them. Something to keep an eye on as you move forward without Brandon Graham and your lack of pressure that you had on the quarterback. Carolina, you had visibly no pressure whatsoever in that football game against the Carolina Panthers. None. And your edge rusher was getting annihilated and setting the edge, and Nolan Smith in open space. Jalen Hurts, 14, 21, not counting the sacks, 108. 2 TDs. Chuba Hubbard, 26 carries. He was really the only guy they had, 92 yards and a touchdown. Barkley, 20 carries, 124. Here's where Hurts was basically effective, was the fact that he had those 59 yards rushing in that touchdown. That's where he was effective. Nothing in that passing game. Last time I'm posting, can't say it again. Hurts is a high school level when it comes to being a throwing quarterback. Amber, yes. Okay. Amber, right. Remember something, Amber. People in here don't want to hear he's not a good pro quarterback. He's not a good pro quarterback. That's not a pro NFL quarterback. Okay. The NFL has caught up with how he rolls right when pressure comes. And if he rolls right and you continue to run him to the sideline and throw it out of bounds. It's back to 23. If you didn't see that game was like 23, it looked exactly like 2023. Roll right, missed plays, missed throws, missed touchdown passes. If you didn't see that, then there's no really having a conversation with you because you're looking at something different. And remember something here, what we're doing. Your football team is 11-2. Is that all you want? Is to have a really good regular season? And then when your quarterback has to be asked to carry you to a finish line, he can't? Jalen is 9th in the NFL in QBR. That's not a liability, my friend. When you're passing offense, well, here, let me give you another little number. Do you know right now that A.J. Brown is 42nd in targets with 6 targets a game? Do you know he's 40, I think 5th or 42nd in the league in targets? Look it up. No. That's not because he missed time. When he's in a ball game, he's getting an average of 6 targets a game. That has nothing to do with games played. When A.J. Brown is in a game, he is getting 6 targets a game. Your quarterback can't even find your $35 million wideout. Look it up. They're there for all of you. Your pass offense is 29th. Justin doesn't think he's a liability. Okay. I'm not debating Justin. By the way, this is not a narrative. What did you watch yesterday? If you were comfortable with that win and how he played, like I said, I'm not going to debate you. We did get a lot of pressure. Bryce just escaped. Well, that's what pro quarterbacks do. Then they just don't roll right and become predictable. Yeah. Seals, teams don't ever raise to the occasion. They fall to the level of preparation. And this team wasn't prepared to play a championship football and starting to feel like we get blown out by the Pittsburgh Steelers. Well, I'm not there yet with that. I'm not saying that. You got a really good roster. Okay? You got a really good roster. I'm not saying that. Sam Darnold, starting quarterback 2025. Sam Darnold will have a job somewhere other than Minnesota. They drafted J.J. McCarthy for a reason. What do you think they're going to do? Not take him out of there? They drafted J.J. McCarthy in the first round. What do you think? Sam Darnold's a starting quarterback in 2025? No way. They're going to take him out. Unless he does something special in the playoffs. Do you understand that guy's auditioning for other teams? Sam Darnold. And they're 11-2 also. Minnesota is in a pickle. Do we keep him, Darnold? Or do we put J.J. McCarthy in next year? And you drafted him high. What are you going to do in Minnesota? Okay? Here, this is kind of like a Jimmy Garoppolo situation. Jimmy Garoppolo won a shitload. How many games did Jimmy Garoppolo win when he was in San Francisco? Let's take a look at that. How many games he won? Has kind of like a feel of Jalen Hurts a little bit here. See what he got to a Super Bowl too. The same way that Jalen got to a Super Bowl. So let's take a look at that. So when he was in San Francisco, Jimmy Garoppolo was in San Francisco, and if I'm not mistaken, I think he was like 39. Here it is. He won a ton of games. He was like 40-19. Here, right here. San Francisco, he was 38-17 with a Super Bowl appearance and an NFC championship. Guy leaves the friendly confines of all that talent. What happened? He was a stiff. That's what your guy is. He's a stiff. Seals, we had a pretty good roster against the Niners and Cowboys in 23. What happened then? Your position coaches and your head coach melted down. And the internal situation on Sean Desai, you should have left everything as it was. Everybody gets beat. You only had 2 losses. You were 10-2, and you fired a guy who had beaten all them great football teams. I don't know. I wouldn't have fired Sean Desai. I wouldn't have made all them asinine moves. I would have held. By the way, Kellen Moore's not a better coordinator than Brian Johnson. Where? Where is he a better quarterback? Where is he better the quarterback? He's taking more sacks. Okay, get this. That's not true. How is it not true? You're trending everywhere as one of the worst passing offenses in pro football. AJ, hey, do me a favor. Hey, Bob, I don't know if you know how to do this. Take a look at how many targets as an average AJ Brown gets per game. I know he's missed time, but it's not about the games played. It's about per game. He's in the 40s. Not even AJ, when he's in the game, is being targeted as much any longer. Where's he gotten better? Not turning the ball over and being sacked more. Kellen Moore has not helped your passing game. Here, Kyle. Thank you, Kyle. A.J. Brown's 42nd in targets per game in the NFL. You think he's happy about that? He's 42nd. I think he was third last year in targets. He went from third to 42nd with an average of 6 targets a game. And you're going like this. Well, they're running the ball more. Well, that's not the case in Detroit or Baltimore. They run the ball just as much. They're like both of them are the top 3 running attacks in pro football. How they improve their passing game? I know our 2 wide receivers are worried about targets, especially this year because they missed so much time. Can you blame them? Dude, Jason, I'm not talking about the amount of volume of targets. I'm talking about when they're in the ball game, they're not being targeted. I'm not talking about seasonal statistics here. I'm talking about game situations. Dude, think about this. Hey, Kyle, do me a favor. Look up Devontae's per catch or per target rate. And you have one guy right now who's, in my opinion, top 3 wide receivers in the league, and he's only being targeted 42 times. He's 42nd in the league. Kyle, tell me where Devontae is. And you're paying these guys $51 million? Okay. Jalen got a better quarterback rating than Josh Allen. How you doing? You're laughable. Laughable. He even compared that stiff to Josh Allen, who had 6 touchdowns yesterday and trying to carry his team to a win because he's the only guy in the huddle. I mean, Jalen Hurts is a stiff to Josh Allen. He's a stiff. Hey, Big Sills, the biggest indictment on Hurts is that a quarterback like Foles, a journeyman, can come in and pass his way to a Super Bowl and become an MVP. That's sad. So here's what you got. Thank you, Kyle, for doing this for me. So A.J. Brown this year is 42nd with 6 targets a game, and Smitty's 45th. How are you improving? When they're in the game, they're not even being targeted. Why are you paying them? There's 40 other wide receivers that are getting more opportunities in the league than 2 of the best. How's that? By the way, don't talk to me about, well, we're running it. Detroit and Baltimore do the same. You have nothing to stand on here. Your quarterback will hold you back from winning a Super Bowl. That's a really good comment right here. That's kind of what I see too. Jalen Hurts doesn't trust his eyes. Hey, how many times in the game, if you were listening to the national broadcast, did you hear even Mark Sanchez saying he's got to make that throw because the quarterback can't pass the ball? Simple. He sucks at throwing. Khalid, I agree. Absolutely. Get this. Every time I see that, it's an indictment on your quarterback that you're so piss-ass poor in the passing game. Imagine how good you'd be. Probably 13-0. And a Super Bowl. Yeah. You're 11-2 with an average quarterback. Yeah. 11-2 with a guy who's the worst contending quarterback in the league. He's Justin Fields 2.0, but a little better. Both your $50 million wideouts are in the 40s when they're in the game in targets. Okay? Hey, douchebag, I got you. Sills, am I wrong? Scripting the first 25, you watch film, find weakness. Yes. Select plays that attack those weaknesses. Watch for adjustments. Identify encounters to attack the defensive adjustments. Everything you said, Bob, is right on. Think about that. He can't execute it. The first 25 plays are all you need to know about Jalen Hurts this year. Those are the ones that they put the most time in for a game plan. Right, Bob? You sit around all week thinking about what plays to get us going. Get out of the gate, spread you out, and try to get the team on a good way, right? You spend the entire week talking to him, telling him he knows what the plays are, and he can't execute them. They've got 2 field goals. This is becoming comical in a way. Okay? Hey, Sills, how many Super Bowls do you think we would have if Burrow 3-4? How you doing? If Joe Burrow was in this offense, Joe Burrow would throw for 7,000 yards. I'm convinced of that. With that old line, with Barkley, man, good grief. If you had anybody competent like that, Kellen would install his original offense. Do you guys remember what I told you? And I was in a debate with Zander about Kellen Moore. So you're going to take an offensive coordinator who's never dealt with a dual threat quarterback, who's never coached him, and you're going to bring him into Philly and you're going to come up with a passing scheme that's going to fit Hurts. Hey, by the way, that Elliot fucking Spitzer Shore Parks guy who's telling us that Jalen Hurts was having his best camp, I think Jalen Hurts looks almost worse than he did in 23. So much for camp. Hey, by the way, this is no longer a debate. Just use your eyeballs. Okay? I mean, hey, what's this? Who cares what you think? Well, AJ does. And Devontae does. That's why they tweet back at me. You may not, Jeff. That's okay. But they do. So does Britton Covey. They do. It's okay if you don't. I really don't care if you get this. No, they don't? Tell them, folks. They did and do. Always get the ones who still are the non-believers. Sills, doesn't this look like the Titans team that had Tannehill and Brown and Henry when they went to the AFC title game? A little bit. I could see that. Okay. Richard, the kicker is killing you. I see it. Sills, I would have never moved off of Brian Johnson. We had a better passing offense that was growing with him. Now we're so conservative, it's been completely stifled. Hey, by the way, Samuel, let's just put this out there as well for you. You ready? God forbid Barkley gets hurt. It's over. It's over. If Barkley gets, hey, by the way, I'll ask Zander the question again at 3:30. By the way, Gary Cobb, 4:30. I'll ask the question to Zander again. Who's the most important guy in that offensive huddle for the Eagles this year? It's Jalen Hurts? Really? I can't defend him no more, Sills. Blaze, run the RPO. It's your best bet to get to the Super Bowl. Run the RPO. Run it to death. Your wide receivers aren't going to be very happy, but run that thing to death. He's really good at it. I don't have a problem with that. And I don't care if AJ cries. Run the fuck out of that. Jalen Hurts is a really good RPO quarterback. Personally, can I tell you what I would think? I think A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith being on the football team, in my opinion, right now, have almost become irrelevant. You have two wide receivers that are in the 40s. I mean, you can save some money, get some different players. Just make sure you have the best running back in football. You are like the Titans now. That's probably what AJ, you're probably right. That AJ probably feels like he's back in Tennessee. He feels like he's back in Tennessee. Right. Seals, we have regressed to the New York Giants, the new New York Giants team. No, you're not. No way. Your freaking roster is sensational, Samuel. You have a great roster. Here, let me do this. O-line, A. Receiving core, A. Running back, A. Quarterback, C. What doesn't fit? What doesn't fit? How many coordinators are you going to keep going through? Can't keep blaming them guys, can you? Jesus criminy. See now. Nick, Steichen, Johnson, Moore. What are you going to do again? You going to fire another guy? Sills, the first 25 might not be all Jalen Hurts. Nick and Moore are all over the first. I agree. Agreed. They think he can execute them, and he can't. They're still fighting it. They don't believe it, that he can't do it. They're in denial. They're in denial, even though all year long, it's been a test that he can't execute those first 25 plays. Yeah, hey, watch this. Bob, I'll say this to you. If I draw up a go route, that doesn't mean it's going to fail or succeed because I drew it up. Quarterback's going to go out there and execute it. And he can't. I mean, It's on the quarterback. It's either three things: pass protection, play calling, or execution. I think it's execution. Put Hurts under center with more RPOs. Okay, Phil. And three-step drops. Okay. Take him out of the shotgun. Okay. I think everything you're saying is correct. I think that would help. But how about Nick Sirianni coming out saying that Jalen Hurts is an MVP, played like it yesterday? That's why you don't believe him. You believe Dan Campbell. You think Mike Tomlin would have came out of a game like that and said his quarterback played well? I don't know what it is with these coaches in Philly. They're afraid of public scrutiny or public criticism. They're afraid of it. It's something like said or from something from the organization that they never have said a bad word about a player in their locker room. And by the way, if you've got, I think this comes down to this: either you have a great relationship with your players that you could publicly say this like Mike Tomlin does. Okay, hey, my guy doesn't play well. We got to play better. We got to coach better, and we're just not. He didn't play very well. He benched George. Well, how about that one? Hey, George Pickens has got to grow up and be more mature. You think Nick Sirianni would ever say some shit like that? Jalen could do the push like no other, but brother can't read the field for nothing. Jesus, right? It's so exposed this year. By the way, you got a great team. You got a great team. Here, I'm probably being as transparent as I've ever been here. And there's just nothing more to do here with this. You got a great football team. Yeah. I told you after Washington, I don't need to say anymore. But I also now know this. You don't have a very good quarterback. No, I'll take that back. You have a good quarterback. He's just not good enough. You know, like you upgraded with Barkley, they need to upgrade. Hey, wouldn't you rather have a better passer than a better running quarterback? I would. I get Barkley to take care of that. I don't need Jalen Hurts to run me 50, 60 yards. I get another guy to do that. I don't care what Jalen Hurts does rushing. I get some other stuff to do that. I get Justin Fields to do that for me. Pay him less. He's been cut. I could pay him $1.5 million to get what I get. Would it be to the level of Jalen? No, but I'd probably get the same kind of production out of him. Dude, when you're going to give me 80 yards or 100 yards a game, and you're not really, and your targets to your wide receivers are in the 40s now, and you're leaning heavily on one guy, and you're getting away from what you were building. Get this. It's almost like the Eagles went through a transformation in the bye where they went like this. You paid for a tight end. You paid for two wideouts. You built the O-line so that you can have a good passing game. Then they came to the conclusion, well, he's not it. And now we're going to win by running, both of them. And they've completely gone the other way. They're so one-dimensional and so predictable now. Now, here's the beauty about Barkley and the O-line. As much as they're predictable, nobody has stopped it. Hey, by the way, Jalen Hurts doesn't frighten me any longer. When he runs, he does. But when he's in the pocket, he ain't beating me. Barkley's beating me. Hurts' wheels are beating me. That's where you are now. And get this, I'll say it one more time. You're a really good football team. You're a really good football team. Say they get bounced in their first playoff game and Hurts plays like he did yesterday. Do you draft a quarterback next year? Dude, what are you talking about? You got salary cap hell for 3 years, and you got a quarterback that has a no trade. You're married to that chick for the next 3 years, whether you like her or not. Hurts is making his O-line look bad with sacks from him holding on to the ball too long and making dumb decisions. He's the 6th most sacked quarterback in pro football this year. And his 2 wide receivers are some of the worst targeted receivers in pro football right now. And you get the 29th ranked offense in passing. Okay. Some people said you can win the Super Bowl with that style. I disagree. 99-2000 Rams, Marshall Faulk, 2,200 all-purpose, 26 TDs. Holt 1,600, Bruce 1,400, Warner 43, 45, and 6. That's what this offense should look like. Correct. That right there is exactly correct. That 99-2000 St. Louis Rams football team, Lord's Grace, this is what you guys envisioned. Was it not? Isn't that the offense you envisioned? Torrey Holt, AJ, Isaac Bruce, Devontae. Now, look, those numbers can be skewed because those guys have missed time, but per game, about 100 and what? 100 yards for AJ, about 88 for Devontae. Warner goes for 43. Shit, man, that's the number. We're going to get Zander on here in a second. That's the number Zander was kind of talking around, between 43 and 4,500 yards passing. And by the way, that's not a poor prediction because that's what your expectations were. Do you know he's on pace for 3,300 yards? It would be his lowest output since 21. The Carolina freaking Panthers. Wow. That was so bad yesterday. It was so bad. Gary Cobb will join us at 4:30. I'll tell you what, man. I got to hand it to Zander, and I got to hand it to everybody. By the way, I'm going to say it one more time to you guys. You got a good football team. Nobody's debating that. But don't you want to win it? Fuck, what are we doing here? Don't you want to win it? This can't be 11-2. Okay. Phenomenal job yesterday on the halftime, and the post show yesterday on the legendary JAKIB Sports Eagle pre- and post-game show. Did a sensational job this morning with John McMullen. It's funny. I think John's delivery is just a little different than mine, but I believe John and I are on the very same page here. And I think Zander, I heard him this morning going, that can't be like what we saw yesterday. That can't be. This is one of the only places that you're going to get. Dude, you're not going to go on IP and hear this stuff. You're going to hear rootin' and tootin' over there. Oh, don't worry about it. We're all good. Without further ado, let's bring our boy in. The co-host of Birds 365, Big Z, Zander Krause.
What's going on, Big Sills?
How you doing, brother?
Football Monday, my friend.
Absolutely a football Monday, man. How you feeling?